Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Katelyn from Florals.com and I'm back with my minimal mixed media series where we do a little bit of mixed media to get some of it used up in our stash, but nothing too crazy. And today I think you'll find a nice new unique take on some common ways to use mixed media, but I actually have a Harry Potter page today and I don't do too many of them despite having so many photos. I'm featuring a couple products from Photoplay. I have some of Chardonnay's wonderful wood veneer. I'll have everything linked down below in the description box and over on my blog if you're interested in any of the products. And to get started, I'm just going to trim off the branding strips and start off with this as my background. Now it's probably hard to tell in the photo because it's actually a very dark photo, and the reason being is this is actually for my 2016 trip album, and we wandered into Ollivander's, which if you don't know or aren't familiar with Harry Potter, that's actually a wand shop. That's where you find the wand that's meant for you, and I was chosen to do the wand ceremony. Yes, I was, in my cute little Florida sweatshirt, and it's a very dark room, and so they make you test out wands. You do swishing and flicking, of course, of the wand to test it out, and I was chosen. So this is me and the wand master at the time. Ollivander wasn't there, but it was a different person, and that's what this picture is, and it's the only picture that really came out from this event because it's so dark in there. I don't know if they've changed it since 2016, but it was like pitch black in there to, have all the effects and to see the magic happen. But for the mixed media, I thought I'd pull out my modeling paste. Now, I prefer this brand of modeling paste. There are so many out there though, so if you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments down below. But this is the light and fluffy modeling paste from the Crafters Workshop. They also have this in black, which I really want to try out, black modeling paste. I think it would be such a cool technique and fun thing to have. But if you don't want to buy another modeling paste, you can always color the one you have with acrylic paint or with any other kind of dye medium. But I also pulled out these wonderful things. Now, I call these my scrapers. They're actually from the painting section, so they're meant to scrape paints and things like that. So that's why it works out well for this. And there's actually some scrapbooking brands, like Vicky Boutin has made a scraper like this that's flat edge and a textured edge. But these are just textured scrapers, and I'll have some additional ones linked down below. These ones happen to be from Michaels, but they do have them on Amazon and other places. But what I do is actually do some circle scraping, which is a different technique, and luckily with this kind of mixed media item, it is so forgiving because you can just wash away what you've scribbled in and just keep going and trying it again. Now, I really wanted full circles, so you'll see I'm going to stand it straight up and then go all the way around. And since I'm not doing a half circle, they're a little bit more spiral based because of the way, everything lines up as you do. But it was a ton of fun to try this out, and I didn't know how many I wanted, so I just kept going in little patches because I didn't want to do the whole background and have my modeling paste dry up on me. So I'm going to do them in small little curves, and I'm kind of thinking that even the way I put down my modeling paste should go with the theme. So since we have the stars and the moons in the background, I'm thinking a cloud shape. So if you can imagine, I'm kind of doing these more rounded hand motions so that I can have that as my background as well. And then I'll go in and add more of these circles in different sections because I'm picturing the photo as I held up there in the more of the center, bottom center. So I'm going to be doing some rounding with my hand as I use the palette knife here. And if you haven't watched, I do have a mixed media tools video if you're interested, for mixed media tools for beginners. If you guys are interested in hearing more about mixed media, especially this kind of mixed media where it's a little bit more minimal, just having fun, less of the wet products, no watercolors or anything like that, let me know in the comments down below. And here's where I actually get a little bit better and then a little bit worse at it. So I thought the top circle was actually quite thick, but I wanted something that more melded into the background. So that's where I kind of got this idea to do less paste towards the bottom. So you kind of see through it and can see the stars and the moon in the background. We don't want super opaque for this. So once I'm done spreading out those elements and making sure my photo will fit, it does cover quite a few of the circles, I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. Now, my modeling paste doesn't take too long to dry, but if you were a little bit more impatient, you could always try to use your heat gun. Putting it outside to dry might be a little bit faster depending on your climate, but once it's dry, it kind of stiffens the entire paper anyhow. But what's really fun is I picked out the wood veneer I already had auditioned on this page. So I have Swish and Flick at the top left, and at the bottom right I have You're a Wizard, which is obviously part of my title for this, as you can tell from the title of this video. And then Shadney also has this beautiful star pack of wood veneer in her shop when I made my last purchase, and I love that it has so many different shaped stars in it, which of course I'm going to utilize. And I couldn't leave the title just at You're a Wizard, so I ended up grabbing this little label sticker for my stash. It's just one of the black labels, and I end up putting my name in Tim Holtz font here, which is the ideology, the sort of like typeface text, and I put my name there in black, and I just thought it was so perfect. Now it's also hard to tell, but the background is technically blue. It's a very deep blue, so I really like that I can include all these black elements but still have that pop of color. So this layout doesn't actually lack color, it just looks like it does, but I promise it's there. And then as I pulled out my wood veneer, you might have also noticed I had these metal tokens I pulled out. And those are also from Tim Holtz. And I got those in a grab box from Simon Says Stamp quite a few months ago. And they've been taunting me, and I didn't know how I was going to use something so heavy or something so vintage and rustic. And this was the perfect place to do it. I thought it made so much sense to use them on this page because we're in a dark shop. There's witches and wizards around. You know, they have things in jars, they have things labeled. So I thought these metal tags would work out perfectly. Now I also have this collection from Kaisercraft that features all these moons and celestial things. So I start pulling some of those out. There's actually clouds. This one says magical on it. You know, it really ends up fitting the background, fitting the theme. And is Harry Potter necessarily celestial all the time? No, but that's sort of the route I went with it. So if there's ever an overwhelming sort of themed product that you're trying to use, maybe take a step back and think of it in a different way, because celestial really helped me break this down instead of going the traditional Harry Potter route with, you know, the house colors or with the Gryffindor colors. So I really, really liked this take on a Harry Potter spread without it being too themey. So because I have mixed media on my background, I do like to use different types of adhesives. So as I'm gluing down my moons here on top of my swirl mixed media, I want to make sure I'm using quite a bit of adhesive to make sure they stick. And I really like about this sort of thing that came together haphazardly was because I did circles with my mixed media, it really made sense to layer all these moons and half moons together. And when you do mixed media and it feels like it's not part of your layout, it's probably because you're not layering enough. And when you layer things like this, even though they're a little bit spatially apart, it helps bring everything together. It makes it more cohesive when things are touching or clustered together at least. So you'll see I have that one in the top left, and it's actually quite crooked, which I do fix at least off camera, if not on camera. I do have to rip a couple things up and refix them because it was so beyond crooked. It wasn't even funny. And that's what I get for working on a star background paper instead of something else. And then when I'm happy with where my other placements are, I end up putting two adhesives on the back of my photo because I do have plain paper as well as mixed media elements that I am layering on top of. So I just want to make sure it's there, and it's crooked of course. So I pop that up and then seal it down, and like I said, because you're doing mixed media, the paper becomes quite stiff in this case, and luckily it didn't bend too much. It was just more stiff than usual. So for the larger wood veneer pieces, if you pick up the page and you don't support it on the back side, some of them may pop off, so you just want to be really careful when you're handling mixed media pages once they're dry and everything's in place. So now that my title is in place, the first half and the second half, which again, I think it is so adorable, I am almost done with this layout. I just want to add a couple more things. And what I really liked about some of the elements in the Kaisercraft die cut set was that they were very celestial, but they also varied quite a bit. So like these border pieces here I thought were so unique compared to the moons and the crescent moons that I included. And you can't just add moons without adding more stars. So I ended up going for this copper color, and I really liked mixing metals on this too. There's something about Harry Potter that gives you sort of that eclectic feel. So I ended up using some of those, I guess I'd call them copper glitter stars, in juxtaposition to the silver sort of charm plates that I have from Tim Holtz there. And I had pulled out a few of the phrase stickers just from my stash there, so I grabbed a couple of those, and they're from Simple Story, and it was a ton of fun. If you guys haven't done this experience yet, it is definitely great for kids. I loved getting picked to do a wand, even though I didn't think I would, and it was a fun experience, and you don't have to buy the wand at the end if it's not your thing, if it's not a good fit in the end. So that's a fun extra thing. You get to pick a wand and be picked to pick a wand, and it chooses you, and it's this whole thing. But it was really, really fun. So I'm going to add a couple of the glitter stars as well as the wood veneer stars to make sure that I have a variety of texture and height on this page. That's something I always strive for, is to have extra textures and height, which mixed media really helps drive home. So as you can see here, we got sort of a left to right diagonal theme going on. That's a really great way to help lead an eye around a page without overwhelming it too much. So top left to bottom right is a common one I use, but you can always go the other way too. But this is one of the most common ones that people use out there. But let me know if you would be willing to try this mixed media technique. It's definitely fun. It's definitely a little bit messy, but I like working with modeling paste over some of the other more watery materials like sprays or mists, but it is still a little bit of a learning curve. But what's nice about this one is you can start over by just scraping over the pattern you created and starting anew. So I really like this idea, and hopefully you guys do too. But let me know in the comments if you would be willing to try it. And also let me know in the comments if you want to see a full return of the Minimal Mixed Media series. I'll have the entire playlist linked down below if you guys need to catch up or want to dip back into some mixed media yourself. I'm also going to add on this puffy sticker arrow. I have a lot of black elements in my stash, but I don't ever seem to pull them out for layouts like this. Like, I feel like I could have gone full force, but because this is such a color lacking layout, all of those bits like the wood veneer and the glitter copper color really add a lot of color to this page. So I really focused in on those. But I hope you guys enjoyed this page. Here are some close-ups of the final product. We did some mixed media, we had some fun with it. You can really see the detail here. Nothing's perfect about this page, but it is super fun and whimsical, just like Harry Potter. And again, a very dark photo, but it was a lot of fun nonetheless. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss out on my other future videos. But thank you so much upon my warm return to YouTube. I took a long break, but I'm back now, so I hope you guys are excited for more videos. Bye, guys.